Everyone thinks 2025 will be the year the market either explodes or crashes, and it won't. It'll be something worse. Flat, frustrating, and forgotten. And nobody's talking about it because it's not dramatic enough to make the headlines, but it matters, especially if you're planning to buy or sell. As someone who is on the ground every day, I'm seeing a much different picture. Builders are backing out. Condos are sitting around in the market and buyers are so nervous. And sellers, well, they're stubborn. This isn't a healthy market, it's a frozen one. If you don't understand this shift, you could waste all of 2025 waiting for something that's not coming. Buyers sitting on the sidelines hoping for a price crash, or sellers thinking the spring market is going to bounce back. This isn't a market that rewards assumptions, it punishes them. So here are the top 3 stories that will shape Surrey's real estate market in 2025 and why almost no one is talking about them. I've been through these markets before, back in 2009, 2013, 2018. They look calm on the surface, but underneath, they're pretty dangerous. And the people that navigated them well, they knew the real stories of what the challenges and opportunities were in that particular market, not just the headlines that they were reading in the newspapers or online. So if you're thinking about making a move this year, you're going to want to stick around because not only could it help save you from months and months of regret, but it could also save you tens of thousands of dollars. You only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right. So I've got 3 stories for you that are going to shape Surrey's real estate market and be the story of this year when it comes to the challenges and opportunities that we're experiencing in this market, ones that nobody is talking about. The first is, well, condos are in trouble and nobody wants to say it. Resale condo demand is incredibly weak, especially for 1-bedroom units. In fact, at the time of filming this video, for approximately every 12 condominium units that go on the market in Surrey, only 1 of them is selling. But it's not only this, pre-sales are stalling as well. Projects are getting paused or outright canceled because there's absolutely no urgency from home buyers. There's also the affordability crisis, meeting the interest rate fatigue that so many home buyers have been experiencing over the course of the last 2 years. On top of that, you've got skyrocketing strata fees, insurance premiums, and just general strata assessments scaring people completely out of the market. Once upon a time, condos used to be the entry point for people to get into the market, but now they feel like a trap. It's the segment that everyone used to rely on, but it's completely stuck in the mud. Now, there's more to this than just demand being weak, and it also relates to government policy blind spots, but we'll get into that a little bit more later. The second headline that's going to be making waves this year is the lack of new construction, meaning no future new construction projects down the line. Developers just can't make the math work anymore. Between building costs, labor, and financing, it's just absolutely brutal for them. And just as the governments of Canada, British Columbia, and many of the province's biggest cities, including Vancouver and Surrey, appear more aligned than ever at any time in recent memory on their desire to dramatically boost housing construction, other factors, including some outside of the government's control, seem to be conspiring to grind it all to a halt. And there's a familiar list of woes that makes home building so challenging and so risky for a home builder right now. You've heard it all before: higher interest rates, rising construction costs, tight labor markets, and the global economy. There's also the cities and municipalities who are just trying to take maybe more than their fair share. And whether that's true or not, it just ends up being more expensive for people like you who want to buy homes. In fact, Metro Vancouver as a whole had a plan to jack up development fees by as much as 255%, which had local developers shocked and even got the attention of federal housing minister Sean Fraser. In an unusual step, Fraser reached out directly to the Metro Vancouver leadership last year, urging them to pause the fee hikes, warning that such dramatic escalation could endanger the viability of badly needed housing projects. Want to hear something even more alarming? Well, new construction starts in the city of Surrey are at concerningly low rates as of right now. According to the building permits detail report for development regions, regional districts, and communities, the city of Surrey is experiencing a 75.2% reduction year to date in relation to residential building permits issued in the city. That means there's a lot less new construction that's going to be on the way coming down the line. And you've seen the news, even approved projects or ones that are ready for occupancy are sitting idle because buyers are just so ultra cautious right now. So you've got cautious buyers, you've got new inventory that isn't selling, and you've also got new projects that aren't ever going to come to the market, at least not under these current conditions. This means very little supply coming in 2025, and we're quietly setting ourselves up for a supply crunch in future years like 2027. Most of the homes that began construction last year in Metro Vancouver were multifamily projects that would have been planned, financed, and approved, and in cases of condo projects, largely sold several years ago in a totally different environment. So while there's no immediate crisis today in terms of new construction availability, in fact, there's lots available for people to choose from, the silence of new construction projects being started or coming to the market in future years is setting us up for a massive inventory squeeze. So we know that condos are in trouble, and we know that developers are having a terrible time getting rid of their existing units, and there's likely not much more coming to the market in future years. So this largely means that prices this year, well, they're probably going to stay flat, but sales are going to slump big time. You see, there's two types of sellers out there that really can impact the market. And when one home sells, that impacts the sale price of other homes in the neighborhood that are similar. There's sellers that are committed to the process, and there's sellers that are simply just interested. A seller that's committed, maybe they have reasons that they need to actually sell or just simply want to move on with their life, are gonna do the things to put themselves into a position to actually affect a sale. And oftentimes that's gonna be by offering a great price for the property they're selling. However, the majority of sellers that tend to be on the market are those that are just simply interested. They're not always doing the things that the committed sellers might be doing, and they're just really advertising their properties in hopes that somebody may come along one day. This is why the market tends to experience, when prices are going up and the market is quite busy, they take the elevator to get there. But when prices are softening and the market's more challenging, well, for prices to go down, they typically take the stairs. Buyers are terrified of overpaying for properties in today's market, and that means fewer transactions, longer days on market, and stagnation. Everyone is waiting for something, but no one's budging, no one's moving. So this isn't a crash, this is just simply death by indecision. My prediction is some products, however, will fare better than others. An example of that would be townhomes. Townhomes kind of are that perfect blend of the missing middle that we so often hear about. They are still somewhat affordable for a family that's growing and needs some space. In various communities, there's lots available. In fact, if you are somebody that's looking to buy a home and you're interested in grabbing a copy of our 21 grants, rebates, and incentives available to home buyers right now, you can grab a copy of that below down in the description of this video. I mentioned earlier about government policy blind spots and the impacts that that would have on the market in the coming years. This is where the government has been trying to improve the market, finding the missing mark for fourplex zoning changes, short-term rental bans. But none of that's going to matter in 2025 if nobody is building or buying homes. You see, government policy is solving many of the wrong problems, and we need more liquidity in the market, not more rules. Landlords are still exiting the market, and renters are not turning into home buyers. And worse yet, investors are sitting on the sidelines because of how dangerous it is to invest in real estate. That's where you're going to want to get more of this story in the video coming up next, where I'm going to fill you in on a crazy, surprising revelation by the British Columbia government, something we never thought we would hear from them regarding getting investors back into the British Columbia real estate market. That video is coming up next, and I'll see you over there right now. Before you drop $2 million or more on a White Rock home, listen to this first. You're standing on the deck of a home you're buying, overlooking the ocean. It smells like salt water, the air's quiet, and you're about to make $1 million mistake.
This might sound controversial, but it's true.